Cheery Conversations, where we all overcome our uncertainty on juicy topics, one conversation at a time. Each week we're joined by author, speaker, and pastor Sonny and a special guest. And this week our guest is Megan Rowe, and she's basically a TV star. We'll tell you.
Is.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. She's basically
Ninja Megan.
Yeah.
Oh, I let it out of the bag.
Oh shoot. Okay. Well, and she's a youngin'. I mean, she's 24.
Yep.
Yeah, you didn't think about it. I had to think about my age. You don't have to think about it. She's a
You're
youngin'.
calling her a youngin' at 24.
Yes.
We're old.
Yes. But here's the thing. She's 24, but she has a lot of stuff going on. She has a super interesting passion. She's a rock climber, and she's a ninja warrior. Like, she's a ninja warrior.
Can you flex, please?
No,
You did
one.
but I can feel it. Her shoulder muscles and her biceps and I'm just.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
She's so strong. Okay.
So she has been doing Ninja Warrior competitively for 2.5 years. She's competed on American Ninja Warrior for 2 seasons. We're gonna talk about that in a little bit. But here's the other thing. She's also a barista at The Exchange, which is a coffee shop here in De Pere, Wisconsin. And she's a coach at Warrior Jungle. She's a ninja coach at Warrior Jungle. And she's a graphic designer.
Yes.
And she makes her own earrings. I mean,
These have mushrooms on them. And she's into mushrooms. We just found out.
Yes.
Not like drug
Medicinal.
mushrooms. She likes to look at mushrooms.
yes,
Okay.
they are healthy. So today we're talking about mushrooms. No. Today we are talking about physical and spiritual strength, because both of those require routine, both of those require discipline. And I think when we talk about it in a physical sense, it's easy to be like, oh yeah, because I have to get up and do 45 minutes of cardio, and I have to do that 5 days a week. But like spiritual strength, there's routine and discipline to that as well. So that's what our topic today is going to be. Okay, but I have to ask, how in the world did you like get involved with Ninja Warrior?
So climbing is where everything started. So I found climbing in college, and then through climbing I met my boyfriend, and then through Dalton, who's my boyfriend, he introduced me to ninja. So him and his brother, so his brother owns Warrior Jungle. So that's where ninja came to Wisconsin, really. And then, so through that, they introduced me to ninja, and at first it was on their backyard course.
Wow.
Yeah, so they used to have a backyard course in Swamico. Currently the backyard course is no longer up because now we have Warrior Jungle. But so they introduced me to ninja, and then I did one comp at Warrior Jungle, and they were like, yeah, you should go test the course. Like, go test the course in Minneapolis. So I did, only doing ninja 1 or 2 times before that, and then after I got on the course testing it, I was like, okay, this is cool. I wanna do this. So then slowly I got into it and applied for the show, and I got the call.
And she was on the real Ninja
She was on the TV.
Like TV.
Like season 11 and 13.
Yep, season 11 and 13. Last year was my gap year.
So now
She was focused on the exchange and making good coffee.
amazing
sleeves.
coffee.
Yeah.
And so now you were just in competition.
Yep.
Is that for another season?
Yep, season 13.
Oh, that
so
is
this
for
is the
season
current
13. Got
season,
it.
yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just competed in
Can we know
Seattle. Yes, because by the time this airs, my episode probably will have aired.
We'll make sure of that.
Yeah.
So I competed, I was the 5th region, which probably doesn't mean anything to anybody besides the competitors. But so I was the 5th region, and so they split up the competition into 2 parts for each day, just because there's a lot of ninjas. So there were 80 ninjas total for each day. And so I competed in the first half, which was nice. But I came out of the 5th region in the 2nd women's spot.
What?
So I am moving
my
on
gosh.
to
Oh my gosh, tell us more.
So I am moving on to city finals, which is the next one, and that's in LA. And
I've seen those episodes.
yep. So my
We're
first year
fans.
I missed city finals by 2 seconds. So I was really excited. I came out in the 2nd women's spot, and I placed 31st overall. So they take the top 30 ninjas total, and then they take, if there aren't 5 women in the top 30, they take 5 women.
Okay.
So 1 woman made it into the top 30. I just barely missed the top 30, but that's okay because I'm moving on.
Yay!
So I'm very excited. I made it to the 5th obstacle, and then I fell in the water and made a big old splash.
Does that hurt? That's my question.
No, like, cause
Okay.
like, it's like you don't want to as long as you don't like pencil dive into the water, they like try to tell us not to because the pools aren't like super deep.
Yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't hurt to fall in. I mean, I didn't hit anything because I didn't like fall on a balance obstacle, so.
Okay, so I've never thought about the temperature of the water because like I'm worried about getting hit in the face with what you get hit with.
Fair.
But what's the
With
water
what you get.
temperature?
I mean, well, it's kind of like a shock because like you're doing the obstacle and you're
Yeah.
actively moving, and obviously you don't think you're gonna fall, and then all of a sudden you're falling and you're hitting cold water.
Dang it.
So it is I mean, they don't warm the pools for us.
Oh,
But-
they're like, here, get this.
Yeah,
You
right.
just-
Like-
yeah.
Yeah.
Man. Okay, that's
Amazing.
so exciting, you guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Very
I love
excited.
that. So, okay, so do you have a correlation between, like, obviously you're really physically fit. Do you,
Yes, she is.
I know, oh my gosh. Do you have a correlation between, like, how you have a very disciplined routine for your physical fitness. Do you correlate that with your spiritual?
So, I think so, because I think there's obviously there's discipline in faith and discipline in your physical fitness. Like, if you stop doing one, you're gonna notice that one starts to lack, and you're not having, like, life is just gonna feel off, right? If you stop doing your discipline physically, you're gonna be like, wow, those were a lot harder to do this time because I haven't been in the gym regularly.
Yeah.
And same with your faith. And I think I've noticed parts of my life where I've definitely lacked in my faith, and I'm like, man, why is life just really rough? Why does it feel so rocky right now? Like, something's off. I don't know what I'm doing. And then it clicks. You're like, oh, maybe it was because I was lacking in my faith. I was lacking in finding my community, going to church, and being in the Word. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's so
Really
good.
good. It is really good. It made me, for the first time ever, think about, I don't get mad at if I have a trainer, which I rarely have a trainer at a gym. They seem like that's so expensive. But if I had a trainer but I quit going to the gym for 3 months, would I get mad at my trainer? Like, I'd go, no, this is on me, right? I wouldn't get mad at the trainer that I haven't seen and that hasn't been working me out. I've never correlated that until you just said that. Like, if in my faith I'm starting to feel like life is hard, what we tend to do is say, where's God? And God did this, or God allowed this, and why would he allow this? But why would we blame God when we're not putting in the work any more than we blame a trainer that we're not showing up to have help us? So thank you.
So
Gonna use that in the future.
That's so wise. So I'm thinking, okay, so not everything's just going to be in correlation to Ninja Warrior.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So I'm thinking about when you are in competition, you probably have people that have traveled with you that are cheering you on and they're encouraging you in the gym. And that is the same thing for our spiritual lives too. Like, we need people to be cheering us on and encouraging us. Like, where do you find that? This is for both of you guys. Like, where do you find that? Or what kind of people do you look for to be like your spiritual coaches or your spiritual fan club? I don't know if that's a good
You go first and then I'll go.
Okay. Well, I think for like a while it was like I just had like my church family, and I had my family with me, because I mean, throughout like my childhood and then like going, back and forth from college. But I think college and then graduating college, moving here, it was really hard to find like people, because I didn't have people. I was brand new to Wisconsin. So I think definitely like working at the exchange was like the big like thing for me, because I was like, well, like I don't know people here. The exchange it's like a totally new place. Like, it's outside of the gym and outside of that kind of world, and through that I've found a lot of people. So I think it's just like putting yourself in those situations to find the right kind of people. Like, through the exchange I found Life Church, and then through Life Church I found so many great people. So
I love that. For me, I think my circle, I've learned through the years that it's not always better to have your circle be 50, 80, 100, but for me to clearly think, who is my inner circle, my smaller circle? And that would be probably 12. I want to say that because that's the disciple number, so of course it's 12. But then there's like those 3 or 4 that I'm like, okay, this just happened, and correct me. And I really know, 1, they would, and 2, like I usually ask for it when I know I need correction. Just like, okay, my heart's feeling this and I feel this way, and they're like, they don't just pacify me.
Yeah.
So that has really been where I've had, just like when you go, and I wouldn't look to someone to go to a gym or to be my trainer or to be my workout buddy or, you know, my Pilates buddy, who they don't have any desire to be in shape, get in shape, stay accountable. Because they would actually probably call me up and say, let's not go in today.
Yeah.
And so same thing with the spiritual walk. If my inner circle isn't people that want more of Jesus, then they're really not going to encourage me. They're going to be like, you know what, take a break.
Yeah.
You need people to tell it to you straight.
Yes.
Yeah, that's important, right? I think too when we talk about pockets a lot, circles, pockets.
Yeah.
And I think everyone, you know, needs that. So if you're a mom, you probably have a mom pocket, right?
Yeah.
Or, you know, if you're a college student, you have your college student pocket. Or if you're a working adult, you've got your, you know, the people you work with pocket. But I think if you're looking for your spiritual strength to grow, you need to find your spiritual pocket. So that could be at a church. It also could be where you work. And just having those conversations and knowing who those people are around you, that can help encourage the faith part of that.
Did you know when you started working at the Exchange that it was at all connected to a church?
Yeah, so I applied for the Exchange before I actually graduated college because I knew that I was going to move here. So I applied for the Exchange. I didn't hear anything about it. So I was like, okay, well, that's fine. And then I moved here and like I was struggling because I was only like, I was just in the world of like, you know, who I knew, which was my boyfriend's family and his, you know, his friends. And so the Exchange kind of came in at like the perfect time where I was like, man, like I don't know what's, like I need something here to like help me like meet people. I need like something different. And so then the Exchange came into my life, and I knew it was through the church, and I think I had gone to the church like once or twice before, but then like I knew like literally my first shift working at the Exchange, I was like, these are my people. Like I had told Abby, I was like, I've never felt like more at home in a work, like I've never felt like people welcomed me so much, and I never felt like I belonged more than I did like literally my first shift working there. So I knew that it was something different for sure.
You know what I think is so cool is when we're not overtly like Christian in your face, and but we are a certain way because of Jesus.
Yeah.
And then that's more convincing on the back end. And I think to have this girl who's a ninja warrior, who's like a church girl and a life-giving person who works at this amazing place and makes a difference in people's lives because of Jesus, but the front is the exterior is cool and relevant, and like I want to be like that. I wish we all could just not, and here's the thing, it's not two different lives, right? You're not like I put on the Ninja Warrior thing and I swear and I drink and I do mushrooms for real and I'm like tough, and then I go do church on Sundays and I never combine the two. We can be all of who we are and the exciting, the Christian-y looking, and on the back end we can just have this powerhouse of Jesus. And so you exemplify that in your life, and it's cool because you feel like you found that in the Exchange. And you know, I always joke, we don't have like frog on our walls. Fully rely on God. Coffee. Like it's like
Can we make an acronym for coffee that is like frog?
There is one.
Oh, there is one? What is it?
Christ something, I mean, yes.
Okay.
And that's why, but you know, it kind of repels people who aren't into the God thing. So it's like, come on in. You don't have to believe like us or come to our Christian concert or church to be here. And the word spreads. But I think that's the same about our personal life, right? Like, Casey, why is she so happy? And then you find out, well, she is a Jesus girl. Oh, that makes the difference.
That's cool. Because really, I mean, labels are labels, right? Like people can call themselves what they want to call themselves, but it's really like what people experience when they're with you or in the atmosphere. So that's such a cool story about the Exchange. Okay, so from the both of you, so let's give some practical things to our viewers and listeners. What's your spiritual, Pastor Sonny, what is your spiritual routine?
Today I felt like, I legit this morning I thought, I wish I had as structured of a routine as Sean has. Because I will find Sean in the same chair every morning with the same journal. He'll text Packers, but other coaches and other NFL players who now are with other teams every morning. He often texts our staff when God gives him something, and he's got his prayer time, and it's pages and pages. And there's me. I'm like, I wake up, I'm like, okay, I need coffee, so I gotta hurry with my makeup. So instead of even like putting on my YouVersion app, which could read to me the Bible as I'm doing my makeup, instead I'm like, oh, there's 3 Marco Polos, I'll listen to those. And I thought this morning, Sonny, just have structure. Well, what I've learned is that I have a different personality than Sean. He loves that. He is a very, his sock drawer looks good. Like his clothes are color coordinated and the jeans are neatly over the hanger. And I'm like, throw the jeans in a ball and put them on a shelf. Like, who cares? And so like, I have to know about me that if I spice up my spiritual life, I will actually get more out of it. So mine could look today like I go home and walk and I decide not to listen to anything because I'm just gonna pray and walk. It could mean that tomorrow I can't fall asleep and I pray and pray and pray. It could be the next day I journal for 5 pages rather than 1 per day. Now, I can't just let that flightiness and my personality of adventure just be like, oh, I never have to have any routine. I need to do something and get something in every day. But I cannot paralyze myself with I don't add up to what Sean does.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. How about you? Do you have a little routine?
I think my routine has changed a lot in my life because I'm also not a very I was the kid who colored for a little bit on one coloring page, then had to flip it.
Oh, yes.
I have to have something different. So I think it's changed a lot throughout my life. And I think God's really been pressing on me recently just to like push more, give more. So, moving here, it was like trying to find a church to go to, right? So now it's every single weekend, no matter what, even if I get back from a flight at 2 a.m, wake up, go to church. And then I started doing Journey to Wholeness. So it's trying to, mine has been trying to give more of my days, because I have such a busy schedule with training, with competitions, and then with trying to climb outside on the days that are nice and not rainy in Wisconsin. So it's been trying to find more and more days where I can just be like, this is time for just God to work on me, to work on my, so that's what I've been working on. I don't have a necessary, I don't wake up and have from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. I'm going to do this. It's not, I can't do that. My life is all over the place, but it's finding moments where I'm in the car, where it's, okay, I'm not gonna turn on the fun jams or country, I'm gonna turn on worship music, that's my time to really soak in and do that. So I don't have a routine, but I kind of have a routine, if that makes sense.
But you have a goal of it, which if that's in the forefront, then it's a priority.
I think that's right. I bet you that's encouraging to people who are watching and listening because, and maybe this is more of a girl thing, I feel like I would say the same thing, I don't have an everyday thing. Mine will be right in this moment, this is what I'm gonna do. So I think that's probably encouraging for people to know, it's okay. You can be building your spiritual strength even if you're not 6 a.m. every morning this. I think it's being aware of right now is when I need to do this. So I love that you guys shared that.
And you're a 7.
I was gonna say, are you a 7?
I can't remember. I took it twice.
Yeah.
I think I got
She's probably a 7 if she can't remember. I can't remember either.
Yeah.
Great. I'm not good with numbers. I'm really good with colors. But I don't remember numbers.
No, we don't want to pigeonhole you. And it's not like we live and die by this. But it's true. Then there's somebody else who would maybe a 1 or I don't know who the other would be. But who's oh my Lord, I could never just wake up and not know what's happening. And there's nothing wrong with that. Although I'm a 7, so I talk like there's something wrong with that. But the 7s think they're the best, always. But yes, some people, that would be death to them to have to wing it.
Yeah.
They need that routine. And so I think we should encourage people that if you don't know what you are, you could even think about, how did I color? Like what you just said. Like for Sean, he has to outline the entire thing, and he did this since a child. Outline the inside of the coloring book with a dark press, and then you fill in. And if you go out of the lines, the whole thing is wrecked.
Done.
Me, I'm everywhere. No outlining, that takes too long, and would switch over to pages.
Interesting.
Which, if that's how we were as a child. Yeah.
It's
If that's how we were as a kid, then why wouldn't we think as adults maybe our routine, even working out or prayer, but what we do is comparisons. The Great Crippler, right? And I compare to that lady who gets up at 5 and works out. And I'll never add up to that. Well, that's a bad expectation for me to put on myself. If I said I'll wake up at 9 or I'll wake up and I'll go work out at 9, I might be able to fulfill that.
Yeah. That's so good. Okay, so I want to close with this question. Actually, Megan, it's a question that you had written, pre-written down, but it's so good. And I think it's why we need to focus on having spiritual strength, right? Because things are going to happen that you don't expect or that you didn't want to happen. But in those moments, the unexpected, how does spiritual strength carry you? Have you had something like that where it's like, oh, I'm so glad I exercised that muscle because I need it right now?
Is this for
whoever?
Okay.
Well, I mean, okay. I know it was my question, but no, I think there's a lot to remember in those moments where you're like, okay, this happened. I didn't want it to happen. I did not expect this to happen. I can't change it now. You know, recently, right before I went to go compete, it was supposed to be my good shoulder, but it was bugging me and it was really hurting me, and I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this? I have a week and then I fly out to go compete. I want to be feeling my best, but it's what do you fall back on in those times when you can't do anything about it? All you can do is keep moving forward. And that entire time, leading up to competing, I was like, okay, Lord, I know I'm not 100%, but I don't think I ever have been 100%. So I pray that I can have peace, and throughout the whole thing, I pray that I can have focus and do as good as I am able to do in the moment, which is, I think it's kind of interesting because I keep looking back to months leading up before, and obviously during our whole downtime of quarantine, I was like, man, I wasn't hurting and nothing was bugging me, but I'm like, there's always something going on in your life. So I think it's hard because those things happen and they set you back, and you're like, but this was just fine, or I was doing just so well. But it's going back to, okay, if this is going on, okay, I can use that. How can we move forward, and how can we I don't know, keep pushing even though we're not there. But
that's really good.
That's so good. That's so good.
Again, this morning when I was comparing myself to Sean's routine and my lack thereof, I did feel this, and I think this was the Holy Spirit comforting me, but also counseling me on some answers. And it was, your spiritual life can be very much like an equation. If I'm in the deficit, I need to add more to get to positive. And so right now I don't feel like I'm in a deficit. So that doesn't mean you give up. Right. It just means that I must have inputted, and I'm in the positive on the spiritual thing. So if I am not at that same prayer journaling and praying for hours, this week compared to 2 weeks ago, it's I built up in my spiritual tank, like you said, the preparation, the scripture. I've saturated and marinated on that scripture, and I've inputted. So I'm in a positive, so that when I have a week where it's it's one meeting after another, all week long, and I don't have to get frustrated because I'm coming out of that positive in the equation. Now, if I'm in a deficit, next week, I need to know I'm probably going to be flatlined or in a deficit to what I need to input. So I need to schedule or plan for more just time alone, time in quiet, time praying and reading my word to get that bank account filled back up.
Such a great way to look at that. I love that. That's so good. Okay, let's leave our listeners and viewers with one applicable thing. What is something they can do to help build their spiritual strength? Life groups. Life groups are a great way. Life groups are for anyone, whether you go to Life Church or not. But life groups are a great way to build spiritual strength. You can
Yes.
connect with people who are in the same season or wanting to be in the same season. They want to grow their Jesus journey. So life groups, that's a great way to build spiritual strength.
I was gonna say find people, because I think that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing for me coming out of college. I mean, college is hard. College is hard for everybody.
Yeah.
But finding people here was like my biggest thing, because then I felt like, okay, there's like other people around me on the same track, trying to do the same thing.
Yes.
It's really supportive. I mean, it's the same thing like having a workout buddy,
Yeah.
right? Like have your spiritual workout buddy.
Yeah, that's great. Sure.
Which the pocket of people,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
life groups,
Yeah.
which some are, I mean, we have some online and they're ongoing, so
Yeah.
somebody can jump in at any point. That's not the same as, you know, if you're able to do it with someone,
Yeah.
but we offer both. Getting on a team
Yeah.
to serve, because
Yeah.
I think a lot of us, what if you worked out like you do, but you never went and competed?
Yeah.
Some people do,
Yeah.
but some people, they come to this frustration level of like, well, okay, now it's just the same all the time.
Yep.
So like serving is putting action to all this
Yeah.
spiritual growth, which I think that's a great way
Yeah.
to serve in a church, in Life Church, or a church you're at. That's huge. Another practical thing. Oh, I was also going to say, I think in that deficit and positive thing, I loved what you said. There are times I just shut off this kind of music and put on worship, or I shut off all noise.
Yeah.
And I just go, okay, God, I'm willing to listen. So those are easy tips.
For sure, easy.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thanks for being with us. We loved having you.
Yes.
And thank you guys for watching and listening. And make sure that you are cheering Megan on season 13, Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, you can go back and binge season 11.
Yeah.
So we love that you were joining us today.
If you'd like to connect with me personally, or maybe you have an idea for a show or a guest, you can go to sonnyhennessy.com.
So join us next week at the same time for another cheery conversation.